Hello, good morning. Yeah, let's just keep it quick since we've got a very nice, cozy audience. Just invite the rest of my speakers on stage as well. Nat, stop taking pictures. I'm asking you to come on stage. Come on, get your ass up. Come on. Good morning, everybody. By the way. Yeah. Okay, as everybody is settling in, I thought maybe we'll just start with the boring stuff first, just to manage expectations. Maybe 20-second introduction. Everybody, Gaius, we'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Geston, also known as Gaius from Virtual Protocol. Previously, we were a gaming guild called PathDAO.
Hi, my name is Pat and from RSV Club, Curia. So we are building a community-owned organization membership club. So we have currently 3 offline clubhouses, and we plan to expand it by 10 clubhouses by end of 2026. Nice meeting you guys.
Hi, my name is Gabby, Dizon, co-founder of Yield Guild Games, or YGG. We organize player communities and bring them into Web3 games.
Hi, I'm Varit from Curia Lab. We are a team that provide product and service for DAOs, aiming at improving transparency and accountability in their governance processes.
Yeah, this is Nat from General Learning Club. We lead the largest NFT community in Thailand.
Nice. All right, gentlemen. Before we start, since you have a small audience and we can see everybody because I don't know why the lights are fucking bright. DAOs. 2 questions. Raise your hands. Anybody over here believe in DAOs?
Okay. I can see people raise their hand, man.
Right. No, I think it's peer pressure. That's why they're all raising.
I know, that's what you otherwise.
Yeah, it is. I also agree with everything like that. All right. And how many of you just keep your hands up. And how many of you are actually part of a DAO, running a DAO, or founder of a DAO?
Oh, that's 1 hand left. 2.
Oh, there's 2 hands left.
3. Yeah, that's good.
Right. I'm just gonna throw this up. It's not a question, it's a statement. And I want to see what all of you have to say. We'll start with Geston, right? Because you guessed the correct number of audience.
Sure.
Right? DAOs don't work.
They do. It depends on what's the purpose of a DAO, right? So, for example, in PathDAO, the governance mostly is on the usage of our treasury, and not like how we operate on a daily basis. So, for example, we were a gaming guild that deals with investments, right? But we had a mandate passed that the core team has the full authority to decide on how to invest. Of course, the DAO has the rights to do another vote to remove their rights. So certain things need to be centralized, certain things need to be decentralized, because it's a lot about efficiency, right? So, for example, investment, if you have to write our TCs, post it to our governance forum, everyone can front run us. So it doesn't make sense. Yeah, so that's my take on the DAOs. And it does work because when let's say people are holding our tokens, they are incentivized to ensure that whatever they have voted, it's a vested interest for them, right? And also it creates
Yeah, so somebody can buy 90% of your tokens and vote in his or her favor, what?
They can.
Then that's not a DAO already, what?
True.
Right? I mean, that's what happened to like Aave and Uni and everything like that, right? And then you talk about like the rest of other stuff as well, like time, everything like that. No, I want to come to our dear friend from Curia Labs as well, right? You create things to create transparency with DAOs. You create the products, basically infrastructure that powers the DAOs. Am I right to say that?
Right.
So do you have anything like this to solve these kind of innate problems?
Well, one of the issues is the participation rate that is throughout very prevalent throughout many DAO is relatively very low. Like as we can
why do you think in your perception DAO participation is low?
I think, to be honest, not everybody who actually hold the tokens care that much. Like imagine like you're an investor, right? You invest in like 10 protocols, and those protocols are like they have all these governance tokens. You don't really have the time or like even the expertise to actually participate in like each other proposals. So it's posed like quite a challenge. You know, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of expertise to be able to like go through all these and participate in all of them.
Anyway, by the way, you guys can chime in and add anything. I'm just the moderator. The more you talk, the less questions I have to ask.
I think that's a good idea. No, I agree with him because I mean, we have less complication of the Web3 right now. It's easier, right? You can just a few click and you do everything. But now we have
Have you tried airdrop farming?
I love it, man. Yeah. By the way, I think we have more protocol this day. So it's like you look at a Discord and you have 1,000 of them, and now you have to apply for the VIP. You need more Discord to go on, and it's like, I understand him that we can't follow everything. So DAOs can be really good idea, but sometimes can be like, so is it happening right now or not? I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that was very, very inconclusive. Where I think, I personally feel that DAOs work in theory. It's like democracy, right?
In theory.
In theory,
Yeah.
it works, right?
In the paper, it look really good.
Yeah, like you paint this picture of like people having the rights to decide on something, right? But I also feel that, number one, people don't care. Number two, even the people who care, there's always a way to game the system, right? Despite DAOs in theory being, platforms of transparency, right? It doesn't work and everything like that.
That's one thing that remind me, like, Pudgy haven't done that yet, but if you have Pudgy to log in to vote for something, the first thing when you click the link, is that the real link?
No, but right. Pudgy is a very good example. I'm going to use Pudgy as an example, right? So, if let's just say Pudgy launches a token, right, and everybody can vote
Example,
on it, right? Example, right? However, right, and I would love to see what the rest of you say to this, right? We know that there are two very famous Pudgy holders in the Pudgy ecosystem. One is Bobby from CoinGecko. Another one is Alex from Nansen, right? These are very influential, respected people, right? Despite equal votes and everything like that, they would also have to influence in theory to say that, guys, this is fucking stupid. This is what I think, right? And most of the time, Bobby's a smart guy and he's a bro, right? And Bobby will say that, and most of the time, people will listen. So, how does it work that way? Gabby, you've not said anything yet.
Yeah, I think not everything needs to be a DAO. Like people want to come together to do something, and this is what is actually easy with our communities at YGG, because people come together and then they want to play games, and then playing games, some of those you can earn, you can own assets, etc. The problem with most DAOs is that you were there because you wanted to buy something and then eventually sell something, and then like what's there to do in between, right? So I think having a well-defined activity is kind of a precursor for thinking about what should our governance be like. But I don't think everything should be a DAO. Some of them might be, like one man running the show. Some of them might have a council. Some of them might be a DAO. If you look at some of the more mature ones, like an Aave or a Maker, it's very known what the parameters of the DAO are. So like there's dials you can do. You can turn it from here up to here, but you can't blow it up and make something completely different, right? So I think having those bounds of what dials the community can turn is good for a DAO.
And you think that, I would say, the motivations of the community, right? I'm just going back to the topic over here, right behind us, right? It's they talk about like, the evolution of grassroots, right? And like, how it helps the ecosystem and everything like that. I don't know, do you guys see anything like, Pat, sorry, you've not said anything. Like, do you see anything like this in Korea, for example, even on a small scale?
Not yet, but for us, to be honest, we are trying to build a platform where. So I agree with you guys that some of the things need to be centralized and some of the other things to be decentralized. For example, we are not using technical jargon such as DAO, Web3, or NFTs, but at the same time, we are giving our members a chance to participate in voting and proposing some of the agendas that can influence our direction of the club, such as where do you want to have our new venues at, what kind of events do you want to hold, or what kind of members do you want to recruit in, etc. So I think
Why do you need Web3 for that?
Pardon me?
Why do you need Web3 for that?
Because it allows some kind of transparency in voting and stuff. So most of the time when project team decides everything, some of the agendas may not be as clear as it might not be as clear as using the blockchain in that regard. So we are trying to adopt blockchain not only because of the technical aspect of it, but at the same time, we believe that blockchain, the principles that blockchain embodies. So I think that's also good marketing strategy as well.
I love the word marketing.
Optics. Optics. So, do you guys launch a token?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I have a hot take questions, right? Do you guys think if you don't have a token, are you actually a DAO?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Because I know some organization uses DAO word, but they don't have a token. So I would like to hear.
Give some examples. Give some examples.
No. I'm not gonna point fingers.
Come on, man. Like, there's only fucking 16 people here. We can say whatever we want.
We have 17
Like, nobody's
now,
tweeting.
sorry.
Everybody's listening. Nobody's tweeting, right?
No, I don't want to make enemies on the
No one
screen.
holding a camera.
No,
I don't see anyone holding a camera here.
No, I saw a guy holding a camera just now, but
Wait down real quick. Yeah.
No. I'm not gonna name anything. But I would love to hear the thoughts of you guys.
Yeah, what I'd like to see are voting that is weighted on people's contributions rather than, for example, token ownership. Someone who's kind of deep in the project, who knows what they're doing, should have a better voice or louder voice than someone who owns a bunch of tokens. Of course, you have to wait, like token ownership versus participation. But I don't think it should just be based on how much tokens you own, right?
and contributions, I think it's a very important aspect because, like, even for us at ARC, I think contribution is something that we track quite diligently. However, the question here is that is it true that contribution is really the best way, or is it the only way? Right? Because if a person contributes more to a DAO, could simply mean that that person is jobless and has got more time on his hands. Right? Versus you, Gabby, for example, you've got like 3,554 things to do. Right?
So
your
probably
contribution is
contribution as a way to contribute to reputation. So reputation is the important part. And then reputation can be gleaned in different ways. Contribution being one of them. Maybe network being part of it. Maybe your wallet history being part of it as well, right? So, but I do think that reputation should be, very like important in terms of figuring out like how can a person influence it.
I think there are a couple of people. I don't know whether really it's called SocialFi right yet, but I do know there are a lot of people trying to build like the reputational layer on top of the blockchain and incentivize it with tokens and everything. So it's kind of like Web3 on steroids with LinkedIn, where basically instead of people saying that, like I've got like 100 people saying that I understand startups, I don't know who the fuck they are.
Buy my
Right.
keys.
Huh?
So like buy my keys. There's a friend thing that.
Yeah, but the Friendtech thing, obviously Friendtech was an experiment that got taken out of hand as well, right? And I think that's a good example, right? Because it's like, the thing is, I think the Friendtech thing is a bit flawed, but I think it's the closest thing that, maybe Varit or anybody else can chime into this as well. But like, the only way, like the reality is that, right, if I was still on Friendtech, right, the only way I can profit from it is I were to dump on my holders.
Yeah, the
Yes.
problem with the front tech model is that
I think it's the genesis of something.
Yeah. It's a very interesting crypto primitive for SocialFi, but the problem is there's the buying and the selling of keys, and then the one who owns the keys tries to generate value via, I don't know, leaking alpha, OnlyFans photos, I don't know, right? But the only way people can realize that value is when they dump the token, which doesn't really have like long-term stakeholder alignment, right?
I think cycling back to on the token gating, right? If, for example, let's say if you want to have a core contributor, he might not have a lot of token, but let's say in virtual protocol, we have a system whereby I can delegate my virtual token to a core contributor so that he has a higher say in the ecosystem. So in a way is that you can delegate to like a council of like 9 people to do the voting and to pass proposals. If let's say I hold a token, but I don't know what is it about all the AI stuff, right? I can pass it to someone who is really good at it. They can pitch it to the community to get the delegation, and it might work better with all these fewer core contributors.
I think how to have make a great point on like the terms of like delegation, because we already see a lot of these delegation system prevalent in a lot of DAOs, because as I mentioned like earlier, like not everybody has like the time or even like the expertise to actually like vote or decide on stuff. So like a lot of the solution in the industry right now that is really prevalent is the you delegate your voice to someone, and but the thing is like even the delegate themselves, it's actually very hard for the delegator themselves to actually gauge whether who they delegate their tokens actually perform as well. Like for example, some I see in they just vote just for the sake of voting instead of like giving like voting rationale why they vote for this, or like giving like explanation or like analysis on them.
But is voting really the core use case of DAOs? I mean, if you think about it from an ecosystem perspective, right? Is voting really, because I think since the beginning, when DAOs were first created, and you go back to like the early Ethereum ICO days, right? Digix tried to do a DAO, right? And there was another one that got hacked. I can't remember the name, in 2017 as well. And then obviously of recent times, Alliance DAO, Nouns DAO. You look at even what Proof tried to do, or even you look at what Friends with Benefit tried to do, right? And I think a lot of them started with very, very, very good intentions, right? I'm just going to assume all of them started with very, very good intentions. All of them started with a lot of excitement, right? You also talk about projects in the last bull market. I don't know whether anybody remembers Krauss House. So Krauss House, you probably know. Krauss House was so for those of you who don't know, Krauss House was basically a DAO in the US. They basically tried to buy 5% stake in the Sacramento Kings in the NBA, right? Like, these are examples that come to me. They start off with a lot of excitement. Fast forward to today, nobody gives a shit about them anymore.
Yeah, like Constitution DAO, right?
Yes, like Constitution DAO. Constitution DAO was a very good example. It was actually like an example of something that started with a lot of hype, and then when you actually hit that pinnacle, and then everybody's like, what's next?
Yeah, I think the most interesting part of Constitution DAO was how much capital they were able to bootstrap in a very short amount of time. Never mind the fact that they got beaten. Just being able to crowdfund tens of millions of dollars in a week, basically, to buy something. That one is pretty remarkable, right?
Just for the context, they raised like $40 million in total. That's quite a lot.
And there was another one as well, right? Flamingo DAO and all this. Like I don't know. I'm this is a really, really open question. Like, what's happening to all this, and like, what's the evolution anybody has observed or seen in all of these kind of things?
I feel like we are learning about the DAOs too, because DAO is a part of the ecosystem, right? It cannot just stand up. Just like you see the Constitution DAO, we can raise so much money to buy something that we think is impossible for the Web3, but then you have something to keep going, but there's nobody doing that, so it's got to stop.
I think he made a great point that in order for it to be sustainable, it has to make continuous revenues from the business perspective. But most of the DAOs that you mentioned is more like one-time hype thing. So in order for us to, develop
the marketing that you said, right?
But at the same time, we are like, for us, to be honest, we are generating revenues from business perspectives. So we are having our members to vote and have them involved more to our club. So it's part of the marketing, but at the same time, we want our members and audience to be engaged more to our club. There are a lot of, membership clubs in Korea, but that's one of the differentiation point that we choose.
One thing I think that is very important for this DAO to be able to prolong is having a strong sense of purpose and the alignment with the community itself that they are engaging with them, because like the sense of purpose for the DAO itself needs to align with what the community actually needs and believe in, or else it's just gonna be there for mostly for extraction, or just to get something out of it. But if you actually align with the community, hey, you believe in certain things, you actually put yourself there to actually pursue that mission or pursue that goal. Yeah.
So,
what's that goal? Very quickly.
For example, like optimism itself, they want to prove that funding, making public goods viable, profitable, viable. So people, who involved in Optimism Collective, they have the goal or values to contribute to public goods and all the public goods funding.
Sorry, Dad, you want to say something?
I'll say that for the voting, sometimes we use voting as you can vote, you can be in the part of the process, but that process would lead benefit to the voter too or not, or we just do it because it's as a DAOs, right? So that's if you don't make the voter more important, eventually they're gonna forget. It's it doesn't really matter about me. Why I have to vote for that? So I think that's a part important to add on, man. Back to you.
Yeah. Nothing else to add. Everything like that. Yeah. I'm going to take a quick pause because we have a very small, intimate audience. I've got about 15 minutes left. Anybody's got any questions for the panelists and everything like that? Nothing? No? Well, we covered quite a bit, man.
We have more than 17 people now.
Almost 17
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I
That's
think
good.
not bad, not bad. Yeah. So we kind of know the optimal time to start a conference is 11 a.m. in crypto.
I know.
Is ARC going to be a DAO?
That's a
vote
good
now.
question. No. Straight up, no. Straight up, no. Like, if ARC was a DAO, and I'll be very, very blunt about this, we would not have gotten where we are today. I think the reason ARC works is because like everything is decided, and I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to be very transparent, it's decided by 2 to 3 people. That's it. Right? We decide, we do it. If we fuck up, we say sorry, we do it another way. The reason why ARC works as a membership club, as a community, is because these 2-3 people make a decision. That's it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, for example, that Luca took over the party. If Luca gonna ask everyone to vote everything for the party, it would come this fast.
Actually, on that note as well, I think Ray from Memeland says it the best, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Community informed rather than community driven. That means you keep the community informed about what you're doing. You keep the transparency, but he doesn't let the community drive what exactly, right, Memeland does. And I do believe that, you know, they are one of the top projects from Asia, from NFT perspective, community perspective, right, because of that ethos, right? And it's something Ray and I talk about a lot as well, which is that listening to the community is very, very important. But, you know, and I'll be blunt, if the community knows better, they would start their own community already. They wouldn't be part of a community already. Yeah. Hi, sorry. But yeah, that's my take. And that's why it's like, you know, for me personally, it's a bit of a challenge. In theories, being in crypto for so long, in theory, you want DAOs to work. I want to say this, like, I want DAOs to work. I think if there's a way where you could combine the rewards with a reputational layer, right, where you're able to track tasks, where things are, you actually can get people aligned. Like it's just so challenging. You gotta make sure the community health. You gotta make sure the right people. In fact, one of the reasons why I think DAOs don't work, right? And I'm throwing it back to you guys as well. I think the reason DAOs don't work is because there is no curation. Meaning that it's the same thing as, like, again, we look at political systems. Let's put aside the corruption and everything like that. Political systems dictate that if somebody is going to lead a group of people, right, and before even the vote starts, these people have to hit certain KPIs, thresholds, reputation, everything like that, right? No scandals, no criminal records, blah, 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 blah. When that is done, then the vote happens, right? And in theory, that's a great idea, right? And I think for DAOs, it applies, the similar concepts apply. The problem here is that I feel with DAOs is that there is a lack of curation. Any DAO, almost any community in the world, you can enter it if you throw enough money at it, right? Whether is it a punk, whether is it a penguin, whether is it, you know, or any other, like, you know, existing DAOs currently, you just throw money at it, you will be able to get in, right? And if you don't have enough influence, just buy more, right?
I have a question about the ARC because, you know, now you guys mostly the leading, right? The lead is lead the group now. Would you guys gonna add
Up and coming.
Yeah. Would you guys gonna add some DAOs into the ARC too eventually?
Why?
That's why I asked. Would you
No. My question back to you is why? Why should we do it?
I feel like eventually you guys, I mean, your group are gonna get bigger.
Yeah.
Is that
So
no?
why? No. It's like even if my group gets bigger, right? Why? Like I mean, the question goes to everything.
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
why?
The reason because there's kind of few topic that
I don't need the marketing.
maybe, no, it's not about marketing. It's about that maybe something that your community want to do, but you might not agree with. Would you be vote for that? Would that call a DAO?
I don't understand the question.
There's activity that's maybe ARC never like proposed for the communities, but if we say, hey,
No,
should
but
we do that?
so that's community feedback, right? So you just need to make sure you have a community flywheel. Why do you need a DAO? Like, correct me if I'm wrong, and I would love to hear what everybody say. Why do you need a DAO? What you're creating is a feedback community flywheel. Why do you need a DAO? All you need to do is just make sure that you have a community that's able to communicate their needs, right? Not once, everybody wants, right? I want a helicopter in Thailand because the traffic is shit. Am I going to get a helicopter? No. So
yeah, you want a DAO if you want your community to govern something very specifically, and you have to be very conscious about what that something is, right? And you also need to define like what makes you a good person to kind of govern that. Like there has to be some process as well for that.
Yeah, I agree. Like there has to be a objective alignment, right? When we move to virtual protocol, we have a DAO. But the DAO is the ones that hold our token and they stake it. They vote which AI actually gets passed and tokenized, and it gets onto the marketplace, and games can buy from us. So when you stake the token, you're incentivized, right? Because you want the token price to go up, right? If you got a good AI, there's a revenue generating.
You basically created a flywheel of price discovery.
Correct.
I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. I think price discovery is the first thing that gets people to notice.
Yep.
Yeah, and around things like user-generated content, I think DAOs can work as well. Like, there's a lot of UGC. Which ones do we curate? Which ones gets picked up, published, distributed, right? So I think that would be interesting.
So I like to call something like DAO 2.5, which is similar to, very well-working community feedback group. So in that, we regardless it's whether it's Web 2 or Web 3, nowadays, most of the brands or most of the community goods and services are similar. So if you want your members to be engaged in the group, you want to have a good feedback loop. So that's one of the tactics that we can utilize. This the good feedback loop.
Good. Last kind of question, we've got about 8 minutes left, right? Is, do you guys see, despite everything we say, right? We do know that as our industry progresses from a technological aspect, as well as from a mindset perspective, one of the reasons I feel DAOs unfortunately get a bad rep sometimes is because of the maturity of the industry which we are in, right? And by that I also mean the maturity of the people in the industry, right? The incentivization and everything as well, So that's also one of the things. Do you guys see from your own eyes, right? And I'll use another US example, the Green Bay Packers, right? It's an American football team. It's actually community owned, right? There's zero incentive. There's no economic incentive. There's no dividends. But the people of that area of the US, right? If they do own the cert to say that I own X% of the Green Bay Packers, right? Who is one of the most legendary teams in American football, it is the biggest pride, right? So essentially it's a community. And then you look at other football teams, like the real football, right? You look at how the German clubs are running it. You look at how, in a way, Barcelona socials, right, run the team as well. The question I wanted to throw at everybody is that, do you guys envision a future where there are actually corporates? Like literally, is there an opportunity where a DAO is set up and they become the next Google, the next Uber, and everything? This is really just throwing it up there. Despite everything we've said over the last 25 minutes and everything, do you guys see that future?
Yeah, I think a DAO, if structured well, does have the capacity to generate a lot of network effects that are harder with just purely, I would say, centralized companies. So that might be interesting.
And I also think that it really depends on what kind of businesses that you are in or what kind of DAOs you are running. For example,
what business do you think? What business do you think works?
more like from the example that you gave us. I don't know if it's a right analogy, but maybe something like religion is a good example where DAOs can work. Like just as you mentioned, if you want to be part of something and then you want to.
Why would a curious question? Why would religion work? Because religion is all based off worshipping one God.
Yeah. What I'm saying is that you want to give people the impression that you are part of something, right? So in that sense, if you are part of something bigger, you want to brag about it. So that in that regard, that might make sense.
Yeah, I think in the ideal world, it would work, and hopefully in Web3 we will mature to that stage. That's why even for us, we still go with all the voting system and stuff like that, because we believe that the future will be, the DAOs would work. Voting for an AI that you think is gonna make sense in the market, incentivize you. So at the end of the day, I put it very bluntly, right? People are incentivized because they can make money, right? So if
100%.
people are mature enough to vote for the right AI, they're gonna generate a lot more revenue than like trying to vote for the treasury to be liquidated and give it out to everyone. So people have to have a bigger vision. We need to educate people why they should vote, and like, let's say, delegate to someone who is better to vote for you.
For me in the future, I think DAO will work. The concept of DAO itself, for me, it's not new. Like, I see similarity between DAOs itself and the concept of a corporation as like joint stock actually got introduced, where you have shareholders, you have like this stock certificates. I mean, if you look at it from the Web3 perspective, isn't it just like token? The more like shares, stocks you have, it's like the more power you have over that corporation or that company. So I see DAO with like token vote systems in the same way. And at the end of the day, like, I think currently like there are a lot of room for improvements in terms of like dealing with a lot of challenges such as like voter apathy, complexities in governance. Like, how do we scope down like certain like area that it's very hard to do like a whole DAO vote into like a smaller team, because we can actually see that happening in like some of the DAOs already, where they create like a working group or like a smaller like sub DAOs to be able to manage certain tasks well. Like, that is very hard to do in a bigger like size of the community. So I think there's a lot of things to work on.
For me, I think it's gonna come more easier and maybe more normal, and we might not realize it's a DAOs. I feel like in gaming industry might have a lot more, but you have add-on contents, and the gamer want to play, player want this and that, and I think that's gonna be something that people can participate, and we want to get involved, and we can benefit. So I think it's gonna come more handy in the future, hopefully.
Okay, last question. How long in the future? Let's start with you again.
I think the future is now. No, I think like maybe within next year, we'll see more.
Next 1 year?
2025. I think
2025.
the number.
It's actually a numbers panel, if you never realize while we're walking to the stage.
Yeah, we start with 17, right?
We started 17.
That is really hard answer.
There's no wrong answer, man.
Agreed.
I think within the next 5 to 10 years, because we actually need more people to onboard into like Web3 in general first, to actually come and participate. Because to be honest, we need more participation, like, period.
It can work now. It's purely an organizational structure problem. It's a people problem. It's not a technological problem.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I think in like next a couple of decades, because I mean, if you look at most of the people, they don't even care about like what kind of interaction they are in, whether it's online or offline, and not to mention the adoption of Web3. So I think it's gonna take some time. So probably in like next 10 to 20 years.
I agree with Gabby, right? It can be now, right? So for us, we always believe in decentralization. So up till now, we're still educating our community, and we want it to be now. We might curate it from behind the scene, but we believe it's now.
I think most DAOs will actually be run by AI agents in the next 5 years. Completely serious.
Wait, we got 50 seconds. Can you like,
As long as I tell my AI agent what I care about with the DAO, like, they can do the governing for me, right? I don't even have to be actively governing it.
Take your token with an AI agent.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because the AI basically learns what you like and don't like and everything, and the AI can decide for you and everything like that. And it could be the genesis of Skynet we all talk about.
Yeah. If you check out what Wayfinder protocol is doing, they're doing some interesting stuff
Wayfinder.
here. Yeah.
Okay, Wayfinder protocol. Interesting, right? Think we're done for time. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you to all my panelists, and thank you everybody for not falling asleep this morning. Thank you very much.